everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, March 15th, 2020. I am gazing into my crystal ball right now, and I am seeing a very clear vision of Cain walking his tight jeans right back on into this town very soon. Oh, don't think that it wasn't the first thing that was on my mind when I saw Lily. Because if Y&R is bringing Lily back on even a semi-regular basis, I mean, she said she was willing to move back to Genoa City, then, my friends, you can bet that Cain will be wagging his tail right along behind her soon. Where Lily goes, Cain will always follow. I mean, if Y&R let Daniel Goddard go because, quote, without Lily, there simply is no Cain. Well then, what are we waiting for? Are they signing the contracts right now? I'm sure they are. A girl can hope. Watch, they'll end up bringing Cain back onto the show, making my dreams come true, and then they will choose to not pair him with Lily in the same way that they brought on Amanda and then chose to not pair her with Devon. That would figure. Although I don't know, Amanda and Devon were bonding on Friday, talking about their foster care experience. I thought that was a really nice connection point. I hadn't even thought of that. Never would have occurred to me. That's something very unique that they have in common and that they can bond together about. I'm kind of wondering if maybe that is why Jared has been brought into their lives in order to create a meaningful connection point between Amanda and Devon. Jared's grandfather has now passed away, and this was the only family that this kid had. He says that he's 18, but it seems pretty clear to me that he is not 18, that he is a foster care runaway. I don't even know if this guy actually was his grandfather, but the situation surrounding Jared, to me, reads as this is a kid who could end back up in foster care any day now, and that's why he split the road. He split as soon as the questions started getting a little too heavy from Amanda and Devon, Elena, and Nate. Boy, Amanda clocked this kid right away. She figured out just by taking one look at him that he was a possible foster kid, that he was even possibly a runaway. I thought that was really intuitive of her. I assume that she just recognized his vibe, something maybe in his eyes that she recognized in herself, because she's been there. And I think that Amanda is in a very interesting fork in the road with her life. She feels like she has a second chance at life now. Literally, she could have ended up dead if Ripley would have succeeded in his attempts. So Amanda really wants to create a new life where she is also creating some positivity for herself and the people around her. She decided this week that she was not even going to attend Ripley's arraignment. There was a part of her that wanted to be there to see this guy get sentenced. He pleaded guilty. She wanted to be there to see him get punished. But then, after talking to Nate and after meeting Jared, Amanda decided that she just wants to focus on the good people in life instead of the bad people in life. So this is a really big growth moment for Amanda. And I'm wondering if maybe Amanda's going to start spending a little bit more time at the clinic helping Elena and Nate and Devon. Maybe Amanda could do some volunteering, or who knows, maybe Amanda will foster Jared. Maybe she'll become a foster parent to Jared in the next few months until he actually does become 18 years old. What do you think about that? Amanda becoming a foster parent kind of reminds me of a young girl named Shauna who Hillary was trying to mentor. Our poll question from last week. You guys up for a Billy and Amanda relationship right now? Well, I am very surprised at how close these poll results were. 54% of you said no to a Billy and Amanda relationship, while 46% of you said yes. I mean, that is so close to just being an even split. I mean, practically half of you saying yes, practically half of you saying no. The no's edged out a little bit, and I voted no. I talked all about it last week. It's bizarre to me, though, that it seemed that it was the inevitable direction we were headed in, and maybe now, at the end of this week, Billy and Amanda are not headed in the same direction at all. On Monday, Billy and Amanda woke up next to each other after the storm had passed. And they were enjoying the fact that the storms in their lives had also passed. And they kiss deeply. As Amanda has one shoulder softly exposed while her Grand Phoenix hotel robe falls slightly open. Oh, it had all the makings of a romance getting ready to happen. And Billy was really into it. His eyes were wide as saucers. He tells Amanda that he thinks what is going on here feels really right. I bet it does, Billy. Oh, well, he tells her that he feels that this relationship, whatever's going on here, feels not only right, but worth fighting for. They've had a lot of complications in their friendship, but as they were on the precipice of making that friendship become something more, Billy is saying, I think this is worth taking a chance to pursue. But then, just as it actually seemed things were getting ready to progress, they both pulled away and agreed that Billy should leave. I was so puzzled about that, to be honest with you. I spent the first part of the week trying to figure out why. Why did they part? Because even though I was not rooting for the Billy and Amanda hookup, that kiss made me start wondering, why not? Why are they choosing to put the brakes on this? Maybe it was just from Amanda's perspective that there was too much water under the bridge. I mean, because Billy would have pursued it. It was Amanda who put the brakes on. Maybe she was thinking that after the whole mess that she had just been through with Ripley, maybe she was learning that it's not a bad idea to turn down some opportunities that present themselves, even if that opportunity is alluring. I think she's intrigued by Billy. The kiss proved that. But I think maybe she is letting her sounder mind prevail. Billy is a bad idea. Getting into a relationship with Billy is a bad idea. And that's why I voted no. Billy Billy is not a bad person. I really truly don't think that he is. But prepare for me to be a little hard on Billy this week, because I just feel like he does not know what he wants. And I can't even remember a main character on this show in so long who had as much uncertainty just about who they are and what they want. I don't know how I'm supposed to know who he is if he doesn't know who he is. I think it was really well represented in the fact that immediately after he leaves Amanda's hotel room, leaves that kiss with her, probably feeling rejected, he then calls Nikki first thing. Nikki is Victoria's official gatekeeper. And Billy calls Nikki to try to get on Victoria's busy schedule, see how she's doing. And he does. He shows up at the ranch. I think he genuinely cares about Victoria. I think he's worried about her recovery. But I also think that deep down, Billy wants Victoria to absolve him of his guilt over what happened. And I don't mean just the stabbing. I think he wants Victoria to tell him it's okay that he blew up the relationship too. And Victoria is not going to do that. She is not going to give him that satisfaction. Victoria tells him how badly he hurt her, especially after everything that she's been through in the last couple of years, how hard he fought to get her to come to him, after how hard it was for her to trust him or anyone, after the abusive relationship with JT. And so Victoria deciding to not let Billy off the hook for this seemed really, really important to me. And I was really, really behind her for that. She also seems to see her stabbing as directly connected to the breakup. And now I know that I've argued that Billy is in no way responsible for Ripley stabbing Victoria. Ultimately, Ripley is responsible for the action of the stabbing, but looking at this a little bit more from Victoria's point of view, Billy was arguing with her when the stabbing happened, and it's maybe a fair point that she's making here. I guess the truth, at least in part, is that what happened with Ripley and this stabbing and all of that trouble, it did follow him onto her doorstep. Hey, what was that conversation about that Billy had with Ray right after Billy left the ranch and that visit with Victoria? It was a really unexpected run-in, seeing Billy and Ray sitting there at the bar, and Ray seemed to be supportive of Billy, but he was also almost suggesting that Victoria might forgive and embrace Billy again eventually, like after she's worked through all of her psychological trauma. I'm not sure about that. I am really not sure about that. Victoria told Billy that they are done. In fact, he should be happy. He got what he wanted. Freedom. Horrible freedom. Now Billy can just go and find a whole new crop of people to be around who don't know yet how toxic he can be. Oh, it was so hard for me to not want to stand up and give Victoria a round of applause after that comment. Like, we're done. You go now. You find some people who don't know what you're all about. I'm with Victoria. I am having such a hard time reconciling Billy and forgiving Billy. Billy has burned so many bridges that now he just seems desperate to find one. Like, give me one bridge. I've burned them all. Just give me one that I can cross over. And you can call me cynical, but to me, the whole series of scenes for the week with Billy seemed like this. Billy gets rejected by Amanda after they kiss. Then he goes to Victoria, hoping for some forgiveness. Then he gets rejected by Victoria, so he bumps into Amanda again the next morning at the hotel, gets rejected by her again, and gets the just friends speech. So it felt like he was just bouncing around. Oh, Amanda's a no. Okay, go to Victoria. Victoria's a no. Okay, well, let me try with Amanda one more time. And Amanda says, we're better as friends. Let's just have coffee or something. But no more of these kisses. Sideline. Is Billy and Amanda being just friends gonna end up sort of like the just friends thing that Phyllis and Nick have going on? You know, the thing where you say with your mouth that you're just friends, but then you turn around and bone down on every flat surface you can find? Which type of just friends is it? I need clarification. Are Billy and Amanda going to end up succumbing to their desires later on down the road? Or was everything that happened in the hotel bed just a hello and goodbye? I guess we'll see. Well, now, at this point in the story, Billy has no Amanda. He has no Victoria. But don't worry! Billy tells his new friend Amanda that he has had an epiphany. Wow! That makes like 3 epiphanies in 3 months for Billy. Is that a new record on epiphanies or something? Ah, wait a minute. I'm getting an epiphany right now. My epiphany is Billy is a waffler. Billy's epiphany tells him that when everyone else has told him no, he's going to have to turn to the one person who has told him yes, the one person who's kind of stuck with them forever, the one person who really can't turn her back on him, his mommy. Jill. Jill has offered Billy a job starting up a media division with Chancellor Industries, something totally new, totally high tech. She thinks Billy would be perfect for the job. He turned her down last week, but this week he realizes it's the only bridge he has left. I mean, he's got nothing else going on. So he tells Jill that, okay, I'll take on the task. But Jill smartly realizes that Billy's gonna need a little help with this project. Now, I find that, putting it nicely, what I'm thinking in my mind is Billy's gonna need someone to be responsible. Jill's gonna need someone to be responsible, to keep Billy's inner cowboy in check. And that responsible person is going to be, surprise, Lily! Whoa! You could have knocked me over with a feather when she walked through the door. Where did she come from? I am shocked. I like it though. I like Lily. I think her temperament is very much needed on this show. What do you think? Are you happy to see Lily back? I am going to make that our poll question for this week. Do you want to see more of Lily? Or are you thinking you'd rather see a little less of Lily? Go to yrchat.com if you want to vote in that poll. Let me know how you're feeling about Lily's return. I do want to see more. I had no idea that Crystal Khalil was wanting to come back, was coming back. There was absolutely no casting updates that I read. So for me, it was a complete surprise. So odd. Just so odd, and such an odd pairing for business partners. Lily and Billy. I mean, they're two old friends, but they're two totally opposite personalities. Their names rhyme, but that's about all I can think of that they really have in common. Maybe we should call the new company Blilly. Oh, that's probably what their couple name would be if they were to hook up. Oh no, please tell me that this is not going to be a recipe for romance. Two opposite personalities. I mean, just like with Victoria. Billy needs someone to hold his leash. No. That's not what's happening yet anyway, but it certainly is the formula. It is the soap formula. Opposites attract. Well, right now, Billy does not like the idea of having to share power with her. This is his mommy's company. He should be in charge. I mean, Jill offered him the job last week and never mentioned this stipulation. He doesn't like it. He wants to be the lone cowboy here. And, on the flip side, Lily doesn't really very much like the idea of having to spend her days reining in Billy's verve. Jill called it Billy's verve. That's very nice. That's very kind. Well, Billy and Lily decide to separately mull over this decision to try to figure out if they actually can work together. They both go get some wise advice from some wise abbots. I quite liked Lily's choice most of all. Lily goes to Tracy, who is the wisest abbot of them all. And of course, Tracy gave Lily a lot of positive encouragement in that Tracy Abbott way that it's just become famous. Tracy Abbott's famous positivity. She gave that to Lily. I thought that was wonderful. I loved that they mentioned their bond over Colleen, Tracy's lost daughter, who was also Lily's best friend. Oh, that was so long ago. I loved that. I loved the callback. I loved Tracy's curly little short bob haircut. I thought she looked really nice with her new little haircut, and I am sure that Kane is going to think that that haircut is super sexy when he gets back into town. Billy goes to Jack. Oh, well, now isn't that interesting? Billy goes to his big, bossy brother for advice. I seem to recall a few weeks ago, Billy marching into Jack's office with his black eye and telling Jack about his latest epiphany and that he didn't really need Jack's approval to follow through with it. So apparently Billy does not need Jack's approval, but he most certainly does need Jack's advice. Okay. Okay, little brother. Everybody has a family member like this, I think. So Jack's no exception. Jack tried to work some clever reverse psychology when Billy came to see him. It was a little magical. I thought it was great. Jack was reaffirming Billy's negative feelings about the job opportunity, knowing that Billy would then argue the opposite. What can you say? Jack knows his brother. It was a good strategy. Hey, can you believe we actually got to see the Jabot boardroom? It has been ages since we saw the Jabot boardroom. I think it's been not since the days of the rotating Jabot CEO chair and the days of the emergency board meeting. We haven't needed the boardroom since the days of the emergency board meeting. Trying to figure out who the new CEO is going to be this week. I loved it. I loved seeing the boardroom. I think we really needed that room. There is too much going on at Jabot to just have the one office. And also, plus, now we'll have some new place for Kyle and Summer to have sex. Maybe Theo and Lola will squeeze a couple in there too. Squeeze in a quickie. That's all that new room is. New place at Jabot to have sex. I'm fine with that. Count me in. I'm loving it. I'm loving the way that the Abbotts are making their way front and center again. Ashley is still in town. How lovely. Oh my goodness, her monologue about how Dina, despite everything, is still her mother. Dina is the one who taught her how to walk and how to talk as a child. And then after Dina left the family, she indirectly taught Ashley how to let go. Oh, that belonged in Eileen Davidson's Emmy reel right there. That was an Emmy reel moment. Incredible. Ashley was having that conversation with Billy because Ashley actually called Billy over to Jabot to check in on him, to see how he's doing. And when Billy broke down a little bit and said to Ashley, "You're the first person to ask me how I'm doing," you guys, I thought, are you kidding me? Boo-hoo. I'm finding it real hard to get on the Billy Abbott boo-hoo train. Nobody cares about Billy Abbott. Nobody's asking how he's doing with all these problems that he created for himself and everyone else. Is he even living on this planet? Billy Abbott single-handedly pushed away everyone who cares about him, and now he's sitting in the corner crying about how nobody cares? I'm sorry, but my patience is wearing real thin for someone who refuses to just help himself. Billy only wants everything on his terms, and it has to be 100% perfect, 100% of what he wants, or it's not good enough. Ashley encourages Billy to take the job. Jack encourages Billy to take the job. So he'll take the job, and he'll probably tinker around with it for a little while, get discouraged, give up, and move on to something else. But at least he'll have Lily there, being the responsible one. You know, because there's always got to be someone right there being the responsible one. I really kind of pity Lily having to deal with him, but she really wants this opportunity. So in the end, they both agree to work together. Maybe it's going to create an interesting balance and some interesting news stories. I mean, I'm loving Lily's position in all of this. She is bringing all of the positivity and none of the ego. I thought it was great how she mentioned that she plans to incorporate the work that she's been doing with inmates, former inmates. You know, she's been really into that, and she's still working on those projects, but she's looking to do something a little bigger, take it to the next level. And she says she would love to be able to use this new media company as a platform, and also maybe to even provide a few jobs for the people she's been working with. I love that. I think that Lily's going to be fabulous at this job, and maybe this job will help me see Billy in a different light. I do want Billy to succeed. It's time. I will bet you a bagel that we are going to be seeing Lily and Billy hiring their first employee next week, Mariah. Mariah has got some experience in this industry, and Mariah has a whole lot of extra time on her hands right now. We haven't seen Mariah doing anything to try to save her relationship with Tessa. We haven't really seen any follow-up about Mariah and Tessa this week. All we've seen is Mariah making her way around town, telling everyone how bad she feels for screwing it all up. And the ultimate irony, Mariah takes her relationship problem to arguably the biggest relationship screw up in town, Kyle. Well, the current one of the reigning kings. There's been worse, but I just found it ridiculous that Mariah would be seeking relationship advice from Kyle, of all people. And Kyle said a lot of the same things to Mariah that Sharon said to Mariah. And all I'm thinking is, why don't you try talking to Tessa instead? Why are you spending so much time, Mariah, lamenting your mistake, but we haven't seen her trying to make one phone call, not even one phone call, to get into touch with Tessa to try to fix it? Or how about a grand gesture? I want to see Mariah flying out to meet Tessa on tour, begging for her forgiveness. I mean, if communication was the problem between Mariah and Tessa before, then how about trying to fix it by communicating now? I just have to make one really quick little comment about Kyle and Summer and Lola and Theo. Nobody's talking about them this week. There's been so much else going on, but when we opened up Monday's show, Kyle and Summer were waking from the storm, only to look over and find that Lola and Theo were cozy in the corner, leaning on each other in sort of a romantic and intimate way. Turns out that both Lola and Theo were faking sleeping so that Kyle and Summer could see them there together. Now, I don't like this. Yes, it's clever, but we've kind of already been here. It feels to me that now Theo and Lola are playing the same game with Kyle that Theo and Summer were playing before. Like the whole look at us being so close thing. Does that make you jealous? I mean, Summer and Theo were running around town trying to be close and trying to be close in order to make Kyle jealous. And now here we have Theo doing the same thing with Lola. I mean, that's a little blah. And the thing is, Lola's very much participating in the same way that Summer was. Like when Summer was dating Theo, Lola is liking that this is having some kind of effect on Kyle. Lola wants to know that Kyle is a little jealous, even if it's not a lot jealous. So, I don't know. I feel like, once again, we have Theo being used as someone's toy to get under Kyle's skin, but not really being ready to have a relationship with him. I don't know. I like Theo. I'd like him to be a little something more than someone's boy toy. I guess it's lucky for him that he seems to like being a boy toy. Phyllis encourages Nick to take the interim CEO position at Newman Enterprises so that Adam won't have it. Nick makes one phone call, tells Victor that he'll take the job, and Victor figures, okay, I offered it to Nick first. He's the son who didn't try to kill me recently, so I guess let's just go with him. All right. So Nick is the new CEO of Newman Enterprises after all of that to do. And Victor releases a press statement. I loved the scene where Victor is on the phone telling his PR team that the announcement to the world should read, the new CEO of Newman Enterprises will be my brilliant son, Nicholas. Okay. I don't mean to be rude. Nick is a nice guy. Nick is a good dad. Nick is cute and funny and sexy, and I would snuggle him all night long till the sun came up. But Victor's brilliant son, he is not. I can guarantee you 100% that no one has ever earnestly used the word brilliant to describe Nicholas Newman. Ooh. I bet there are a couple of various Newman Enterprises employees right now going around talking to each other and gossiping about this news, saying, that guy? Nick used to serve me drinks at the underground. Yeah, I mean, he's a nice guy, but CEO, brilliant CEO, I don't know about that. It's like day one and Nick is already ready for his lunch break. Don't get me wrong. I acknowledge that Nick has been real hard at work at Newman Enterprises. Real hard at work. He pushed around a couple of folders and then had sex with Phyllis on the desk. That is some hard work, Nick. I had the biggest cheesy smile on my face when Phyllis and Nick managed to do it so hard they even knocked that lamp off the desk. And then we came back from commercial and the back of Phyllis's hair looks like a rat's nest. Nick's tie is all loosened and cocked off to one side and he was zipping up her boot for her. That is some wild first day on the job sex to be having. Can you imagine the secretary that sits out in the hall and all of the passersby? I mean, this is a busy multinational corporation. I would imagine that the outside area of the CEO's office would be very busy. What were all of the employees thinking when they heard what was going on in there? I mean, that door might have been closed and locked, but it's not like everyone couldn't hear Nick and Phyllis trashing the place to that old familiar rhythm. Just friends. Just friends, my eye. Phyllis and Nick keep agreeing that sex is fun, but they're just friends. Phyllis is not trying to be the new woman in Nick's life. Phyllis is not about to be making breakfast for Christian. You can just cross that off the list. Phyllis hightailed it out of Nick's place the day after the storm, just in case that kid dared to ask her to pour him a glass of orange juice. She said, nope. Just friends. Well, you know what? If Nick and Phyllis are just friends, then I think they need to hang out again next week and the week after that. Oh, Nikki's support of Sharon was exactly what I needed and wanted to see from those two. No kid gloves. This relationship is seasoned enough that we don't need them. I mean, frankly, Nikki's approach with Sharon was a little more like Victor's boxing gloves approach with Victoria. She practically handed Sharon a pair of emotional boxing gloves and said, "Go ahead, take it out on me. I can take it." Yeah, Sharon was very upset about the fact that she wasn't able to get her chemo treatment. Gosh, you know, she seemed like she was at death's door last week, and then she just popped right up looking fairly okay this week, but we learned it was bad enough that her white blood cell count was bad enough that she wasn't able to continue with her next chemo treatment until her immune system was able to bounce back. She was able to get a chemo treatment later in the week, though, so it didn't throw her off track very much from her treatments, but you know, I think it threw Sharon off emotionally, and having someone like Nikki there to talk her through it was perfect. Sharon even said, "So Nikki, what you're saying to me is I should be fighting this cancer as hard as I've been fighting you for all of these years?" And Nikki said, "Yes." Exactly. And Sharon said, "Well, but you're still standing." And Nikki said, "Well, I'm tougher than cancer, and so are you." That was such a nicely written and nicely delivered scene. It ended with Nikki and Sharon embracing even, holding each other kind of on the couch in tears. Now, I would like to imagine that after that scene cut to dark, someone came through the front door, maybe Ray, right as Sharon and Nikki are embracing, someone opens up the door, and then Nikki and Sharon just scurry away from each other, acting like it didn't happen. Don't worry, Nikki and Sharon, your secret is safe with us. Nikki decides to use her newfound goodwill with Sharon to ask a favor. Nikki asks Sharon if she will counsel Victoria. Give her some, unofficial sounding boards, create a similar dynamic of support to what Nikki has given to Sharon. Someone who is not close, but who Victoria can just let loose on. And for the record, it was Sharon who first encouraged Victoria to get counseling, and that when she was involved in the abusive relationship with JT, it was because of Sharon saying that to Victoria that Victoria was able to realize she was in an abusive relationship. So I am all for Sharon unofficially counseling Victoria. But am I the only one who thinks that Victoria isn't behaving all that strangely? She got stabbed. She was in the hospital. Her life has been upheaved. She's not even living in her own home right now. And everybody is so worried that she's not ready to jump right back in at work and doesn't really seem to be caring about what's going on at Newman Enterprises. I mean, that's not what I expected of her either. I expected that she would be rip-roaring and ready to go back to work. But if Victoria just needs a few more weeks to lay around on the couch after what she's been through, can't we all just agree to give her that? Why does it have to be a whole thing? I'll tell you why. Victoria's so-called condition is in place to serve the purpose of ramping up the Adam versus the Newman family story. We just needed to get Victoria out of the way so that we can put Nick in charge at Newman, and so that Nick and Victor can stand around in Victor's office contemplating what Adam's next move is going to be. It feels so contrived to me. I really like the Victor and Adam rivalry. It's a great dynamic, but there's not enough basis for it this time around. If Adam only wanted to help out at Newman on a temporary basis to prove himself to Victor and to help out the family, then what's the big deal that Victor handed the job to Nick instead? And if Adam's intentions were pure, he could just go right back to reading Victor sports scores. No harm, no foul. Everybody calls it even. Everything worked out, and the crisis at Newman is being averted. Adam and Victor can just work on their relationship. That tells me Adam's intentions were never pure. And, on the flip side, if Victor had truly trusted and forgiven Adam, then Victor would have bothered to explain his reasoning about why he didn't choose Adam. Victor didn't even try to explain his decision to Adam. He just shut Adam down without hardly a word, and that had the result of making Adam feel jerked around and like Victor was never going to give him the job in the first place. And I am so disappointed in Chelsea for stoking this fire. There is no reason to go to war over a temporary CEO position. Chelsea should be the voice of reason here. And it honestly makes me sad that Adam and Chelsea were even talking about and acknowledging Adam's apparent CEO takeover plan in Kansas, anywhere near Hope's farm. For Victor, Hope's farm represented an escape from the toxicity that Newman Enterprises had brought into his life. And while Newman Enterprises has also brought a lot of good things into his life, good things that we celebrated several weeks ago at Victor's anniversary party, Newman Enterprises has also brought a lot of toxicity into Victor's lives and into the lives of his children too. Hope would hate this unnecessary rivalry, and Adam should know that, even if Victor has forgotten it. Apparently, Victor has been keeping Hope's farm on a way too lean budget, and that really ticks me off. Victor tosses around millions of dollars like it's pennies in a wishing well, and he couldn't toss George a few extra bucks to get some more help for the farm? That's the real tragedy here. But I know it's all just an excuse. It was just an excuse for why we didn't get to see the farm set. We needed to go to Kansas so that we could show Adam lying in Chelsea's lap with his head propped up on a crocheted pillow. But we could not have built back up that decades-old set that probably doesn't even exist anymore. I'm disappointed. But I get it. I get it. The bed and breakfast was fine. It was quaint. I could see that the set decorators were trying to put on some country touches. I mean, the drapes were awful, so I think they did a good job. I just think it's too bad that we couldn't have gotten a visit from Ghost Hope or something. Something to remind Adam what his mother really stood for and the reason why she kept Victor out of Adam's life until her dying day. hopes, worst fears about her son and his father continue to play out right before our very eyes. What do you guys think of Abby's Phyllis impersonation? I think it's pretty good if you squint. If you squint real hard. Abby really did look like Phyllis in the wig and the sexy dress and the way she was slinking around the room. That was fun and unexpected. That was a really, really bright spot of the week. I think Abby and Chance are having a little bit too much fun with it, though, because Abby said to Chance, "Wait a minute, you don't like me like this, do you?" Oh. I think it's fun. But Phyllis got home after the storm only to discover that her room had been robbed and thrashed, and of course she knows exactly who did it. Abby! You'll never get away with this! Now what happens next is interesting. Phyllis confronts Abby about the room robbery. And at first, Phyllis tells Abby that she has spy cameras set up in her room, so she has them caught on tape. And when Abby calls her bluff and says, yeah, if you had that caught on tape, you'd have gone to the police, Phyllis says, okay, well, she didn't buy that, so let me try this. Phyllis tells Abby that she still has copies of that Vegas recording. They didn't get them all because Phyllis has a copy stashed in a safety deposit box at the bank. So, Abby's brilliant plan is to dress up now to look exactly like Phyllis and to trick the bank into drilling the box so that she can snatch that backup copy and score a win for Team Abby and Chance. And apparently the mission was successful because Abby and Chance had success sex. Success sex. Try saying that a few times. Success sex. Well, they had it. They had it at the end of Friday's show, and I think that whole success sex was also fueled by the fact that also on Friday, Phyllis decided to go out of her way to let herself into Chance's room with her manager key and confront him with Abby hiding in the background, and Phyllis, with so much else at stake, bothered to be telling Chance that he should update his dating profile. Abby is just no good for him. See, no. I think Abby and Chance only think that they're being so clever with this whole safety deposit box heist. And I think to a point, they are being very clever. But I also think that Phyllis was setting a trap. And all she was doing was sitting back and waiting and making sure that Abby took the bait. Why else would Phyllis tell Abby about this safety deposit box? It was Phyllis's last little bit of leverage that she had over them. So I think that Phyllis fed Abby that little morsel about the safety deposit box on purpose. I think Phyllis knew that Abby's next move would be to try to crack the box. And Phyllis, when she was in Chance's room on Friday, was simply taunting Chance about Abby because she needed an insurance policy to make sure that Abby was mad enough to actually go through with the plan. That's my theory anyway. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? That's probably why it's not true. That's probably why it'll never happen. It's too good. But what I think would be good and would be clever is if Abby and Chance were apparently successful in drilling the box, and if they brought back a thumb drive or something, I think it would be really cool to see Abby and Chance popping that thumb drive into Chance's laptop only to discover that what's on it There's a bunch of cat videos or something. Or better yet, maybe a video message from Phyllis where she's telling them, gotcha. Well, here's a plot twist that probably anybody could have seen coming. You guys proved me wrong. I thought that absolutely no one was going to guess last week's Who Said It quote, I can feed your face. And now true. A lot of people thought that it was Lola. Kind of sounds like something Lola would have said, maybe during the storm when Kyle showed up and, she was wanting to be back in the kitchen to distract from the awkwardness of the situation. But no. It was not Lola. It was Billy. Of all people. Billy said that to Amanda when he was offering to go get her some food during the storm. He came back with the vending machine food. And the full line that Billy said was, I can't feed your heart, but I can feed your face. That's awful. I can't feed your heart, but I can feed your face. I probably should have given you the whole line. Maybe that would have made it a little bit easier, but I wanted to be tricky and I really didn't think that anybody was going to guess it. I thought I was being the clever one, but prove me wrong. Henry, Anna, Lisa, Christy, Victoria, Diane K, Sam, Keisha, Ambreen, and Heather. You guys all guessed it right. That's way more than I thought was going to get it. So I've got to give you the props and I have to humbly eat my pie. I shall feed my face this humble pie. Here's a fun new line. I feel like I didn't have all that much to choose from this week, but this line really sounds like something I would say in my real life. So here it is. Luckily for you, I've had a brilliant idea. It's maybe not the most exciting line of the week, but for some reason that one really struck me. It's just there's just some fun egotisticalness in there. Luckily for you, I've had a brilliant idea. Oh, I can guarantee you I've said that in real life. I might use it again. I might use that line again just to be able to. Well, if you think you know who said that line, then you can go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if a bunch of you guys prove me wrong and get it right, then you will get your shout out on next week's Y&R Chat. Oh, I have 3 pages of your comments to read for the week. So let's kick this off with Gary, who says, I am so disappointed that the show ended with that little Bell family bell of Nick telling Ray that he needed his help with Faith. I really want to know what he wants Ray to do to help him with Faith. I don't know if I can wait until Monday. Now that's my idea of a good cliffhanger. Oh, how funny, because I thought that was such a weird cliffhanger. There was no connection to anything else that had happened all week. Usually the cliffhanger is the thing that you drop your jaw and you go, oh, that all makes sense now. But it wasn't that. It was just a news story popping up as our Friday cliffhanger. I don't know. Something's up with Faith. I imagine we're going to find out on Monday. It was something that Nick could not take care of himself. He's flying off to Chicago with his brilliant CEO business, and he needs Ray to step in. Maybe there's going to be a good heart-to-heart or something between Ray and Faith. Ray's good at that. Faith was expressing last week all of her fears and just grief over what's going on with Sharon. So maybe we'll see Ray and Faith having a heart-to-heart. Well, lots of people wanted to talk about Lily coming back onto the show and partnering up with Billy. Diana says, I'm really looking forward to seeing Billy and Lily working at Chancellor Industries together. I've wanted to see Chancellor Industries in action ever since Jack thought about running it a few years ago. Chancellor Industries is a legacy company that Catherine once owned, and this is a good way of bringing the company back into action on the show. I don't remember ever actually seeing the inside of the company before, so it makes it much more interesting after all these years. Ooh, Diana, I forgot about Jack trying to make a play for Chancellor Industries a few years ago. Actually, I guess it wasn't really even that long ago. That kind of came and went, didn't it? But the point I love of yours is, I don't recall ever seeing Chancellor Industries either. Even when Catherine was heading it, I really don't remember Catherine ever having an office there. Do you? Ooh, a new set. I hope if, it's still a big if, but if we do get a Chancellor Industries set, I hope it's classic. I want it to sort of resemble the vibe of the Chancellor Mansion. I guess we should have seen it coming. Maybe these writers are taking the cue that, we really enjoyed seeing the Chancellor Mansion and we like having that presence on the show of Catherine still, and maybe they'll deliver us with a brand new beautiful set that reminds us of Catherine. Maybe a giant oil portrait or something in the main office. Or maybe a Catherine and Jill oil portrait. I also like this because maybe it's a window into seeing a little bit more Jill. I'm really glad that she's been back. Daisy says, I am so happy Lily is back. I think she and Billy working together will bring a new and interesting storyline. And since they're both single, they might just end up together. I wonder what Devon would say if that happened. Also, it would be really interesting to see Kane return to find Lily and Billy a couple. He'd have quite a lot to say about that. Whatever will happen, though, it's something new, which I'm happy to see. Well, now, okay, so if Lily and Billy hook up, which I don't want, because it ruins my other plans, but if they did hook up, I'm not sure that Devon would have much of a problem with it. I don't think Devon has much of a problem with Billy, but Kane certainly would. I mean, maybe that would be a challenge. Lily's all involved with Billy, and then Kane comes back, and he's all jealous, because remember, Billy's the one that kind of broke up, well, not even kind of, but Billy lit the fuse that became the final bomb of Lily and Kane's marriage. So, ooh, yes. Maybe it is what they're setting up. If that's the case, okay, I accept a Lily and Billy relationship if it gets me Kane in the end. Ooh, maybe Kane could hook up with Victoria. Yeah! Billy could get Lily and Kane could get Victoria, and everybody could be ticked off. It's kind of the same dynamic that's going on with that was going on with Theo and Lola and Summer and Kyle. The couples are just together to tick off the other couples. Oh, time will tell on that. Gary says, I can only hope that Y&R is using Lily as a vehicle to give Billy a new perspective on how to live and to leave it at that, without them falling into a romance. Oh, I mean, that's my initial preference too, just that Lily will be a little bit of a grounding force for Billy. And I had forgotten until you mentioned it, that didn't Billy have a conversation with Lily not that long ago when he was going through like his second epiphany, where it's something Lily said made him realize how precious his freedom was, because she was talking about having been in prison. And then I think that's right about the time that he left Victoria. So I have no doubt that Lily will have some pearls of wisdom to bestow upon Billy. But I do doubt that Billy will see them, hear them, incorporate them as intended. Well, hey, how about this? Ellen says, I appreciate seeing Billy accept the storm that Victoria sent his way. He seemed to understand that she is traumatized, and his face was the last thing she saw before she was stabbed. unexpected maturity. I like this trend for Billy. However, a Billy and Amanda relationship will only fuel the lie that they were having a sexual relationship all along. The emotional closeness that Billy and Amanda had is difficult enough for Victoria without the belief that there was a full-on romantic betrayal, too. Oh, Ellen, you're definitely giving Billy some points there that I didn't give him, and you're probably right. I'm mad at him still. Whoa, so I forgot. Are we ever going to find out who forged these receipts, or did Victor do it? We got no follow-up on that. Did Victor actually create those hotel receipts to deceive Victoria, or did Ripley have something to do with it, or did someone else have something to do with it? Or, I mean, did off the wall a chance that Billy and Amanda actually did have the affair and there actually were some receipts? I mean, I would say the fact that they kind of called it off this week maybe refutes that a little bit, but you never know. It wouldn't be the first time we found out that there was an affair. That we never saw. Well, let's talk about that Billy and Amanda poll. And I feel like I've pretty well presented the cons to Billy and Amanda. So let's hear some pro Billy and Amanda opinions here. Tony says, Amanda is not Hillary. Billy is fabulous. Amanda is fabulous. Devon and new Hillary. A story like that, it's way too obvious and boring. I see your point, Tony, yes. And maybe that's what Y&R was thinking when they brought Amanda back and didn't chuck her back with Devon. I imagine if they did that, we would be accusing them of playing to type and not giving us something fresh. But turns out, in my case, I would have rather not had the something fresh. I would have rather had the Amanda Devon hookup. But you know what, though? I will say, everything that happened with Billy and Amanda has been one of my most talked about stories for this year. It has really hit a nerve with me. And even though I'm mad at Billy and didn't want to see Amanda hook up with him, it's gotten me talking. And it's definitely been something that's been compelling for me. And I probably have talked about that more than I ever would have talked about Amanda and Devon romance. So I guess, much as I hate to admit it, it's possibly just success. Maybe it's a success. So why didn't they have success sex? Billy and Amanda could have had success sex. Anna says, I am and have always been a Billy and Victoria fan, but I have to tell you, I cannot wait for Billy and Amanda to be together. I think they have chemistry and will make a good couple if Y&R keeps them together for more than a day. Well, Anna, that's about how long it seems to have lasted, maybe 2 days. Anna left this comment on last Sunday, when we were asking about the poll question. And by Monday, Amanda and Billy were getting romantic, and by Tuesday, it was all over. So I guess they rode the line. I mean, with a 50-50 split of people wanting to see this versus not wanting to see this, they rode the line. They gave some smooches, they gave some sensuality, but they did not give the full cake. I guess we will either have to wait for the cake or realize that the cake ain't gonna bake. Oh, here's Laura saying, I'm crossing my fingers that Ashley is back and has a good storyline. I miss her character. They could do so much with her strength. And we haven't seen her and Abby together since she came back. Ooh, maybe Abby and Ashley could open and run the new hotel together. Ooh, Laura. Well, first of all, Ashley, Jack did kind of tease that. He said last week, I think it was, Ashley, it's good to have you around. I really wish you'd consider staying for a while. And she didn't really give an answer. And then this week we're seeing her again, so I don't know if we're just getting teaser Ashley or if, like Lily, we're just going to get a surprise Ashley's moving back to Genoa City now. I really don't know. But I like your idea of Abby and Ashley working together. You're right. We haven't seen Abby and Ashley together since she's been back. But maybe Ashley going through what she's going through with losing her mother could make her want to come back to Genoa City and bond with her daughter more, and to make sure that she doesn't feel like there's a distance between her and her daughter the way there was between her and her mother. Victoria says, I am having a hard time with the storyline between Phyllis and Abby. Phyllis is very tech savvy. If Phyllis had incriminating evidence, she would have it tucked away on a heavily encrypted server in a cloud. I hope Y&R is not letting a safety deposit box be Phyllis's final safety measure. No, I don't think so, Victoria. I definitely think there's a twist there, because you're right. I mean, Phyllis is, we're supposed to believe she is a hacker master. There's no way that she just kept physical copies hidden in a couple of different places and that her only digital copy was on her laptop. You're right. You're right. We'll see if Y&R twists that, though. Hey, let's have a quick comment from Jamie here about Mariah. Because Jamie says, yeah, Sharon never asked or wanted Mariah to keep her cancer a secret from Tessa. Mariah made that awful choice all on her own, just like all the other foolish, immature decisions that she's been making lately. Well, I mean, I do kind of remember that Sharon did ask Mariah to keep things tight. I think she didn't want the world knowing, but you're right that Sharon never specifically said, don't tell Tessa. And it really is a shame that that is something that created a wedge between them. But Mariah was in complete control to not let this destroy her relationship. And on top of it, there's absolutely no reason why she couldn't have told Tessa about losing her job. I mean, it puts some context, I suppose. I mean, it's something that Mariah easily could have disclosed to Tessa at any time, and Tessa would have made herself more available for some phone calls to help Mariah out. Mariah just chose to lie and sink into herself, and now that it's time to fix it, she's not really doing much of that either. It is questionable, and I hate to say it, but I just wonder if this is Y&R's way of just wanting to cut off Tessa and probably cut off Lindsay too. I just wonder if they are just cutting and running and wanting to restore Mariah to just being kind of the grumpy best friend. The grumpy lesbian best friend. How exciting! Superplex notes, the more cancerous Sharon becomes, the prettier she gets. And Ellen says, yes, the makeup department is doing a terrible job of showing what chemo actually looks like. It's not rosy cheeks, sparkly eyes, and lovely upswept hair. It's not hard to give her dark circles under her eyes and some pale skin. Come on. And Gina says, Sharon went through chemo. She should be losing her hair by now. And she should not look so great. Yes, 3 comments from Superplex, Ellen, and Gina, excuse me, about Sharon's appearance. You know, I think I really lauded a lot of praise on Y&R at the beginning of Sharon's cancer storyline, but I'm also starting to feel that there are some gaps. I mean, we were talking about this last week. There's a gap of information, and it just seems like there's not a lot of reality and medical information being injected into this story, which is a shame because it is such a good opportunity to educate and it's just not being seized on. And as far as the makeup, yeah, I mean, I've even commented the last couple of weeks in a row of how beautiful Sharon looks, and I guess I hadn't connected that to the makeup department really needing to be directed to give her some more physical signs of the disease. I mean, she has physical signs in terms of being weak, but we're really not seeing Sharon wearing that, as it were. You know, not in her makeup, not in her clothes. We're just seeing her being kind of fabulously tired. But yeah. And also about Sharon losing her hair. You're right, Gina. We haven't gotten there. All signs were to indicate that she would. I mean, we saw her looking in the mirror with her scarf, canceling her hair appointment. So Y&R is aware of this. Is it just that they're taking a little too much time getting there, which is often the case for me, and me keeping on track with what Y&R is trying to present us. But that is a good question. Shouldn't Sharon be losing her hair by now? And if so, when are we going to see that? Ellen also says, fabulous Nikki and Sharon scene. Sharon shared her true feelings, and Sharon needed that perspective from Nikki. Fight, but accept some of the things that are beyond your control. Plus, she got a comforting motherly hug. Wow. Oh, you know what? That is funny because motherly hug. Yeah. In a weird way, Sharon's mother is not present for any of this. And Sharon's mother was very hard on her. And now Nikki has kind of stepped into that motherly role. It's very true. But the other point you make that I really like is that Nikki's advice was to fight. But there is a point where you do have to accept the things that are beyond your control. I have so much trouble with that. So I'm glad that you... I always think I can fight my way through anything if I fight hard enough. But there does come a point where you realize that, oh, I am not in control of this. And it is very hard to accept. Nancy agreed 100% with Ellen on that last statement, saying it wasn't only Sharon who reaped the benefits of Nikki's attentive, patient validation. Watching that closing scene lowered my anxiety level as well. In these angst-filled days of crisis, I loved the feeling of comfort from Nikki's words and therapeutic approach. We all needed that, maybe sometimes more than we realize. Yes, you know what? I think Y&R is doing a very good job in creating some of these moments and some of this dialogue. So, I mean, I can't say that they have done nothing right with the cancer storyline because I really, really enjoy that bonding between Nikki and Sharon. But I do think there are some holes that they are going to need to fill in too. And I guess that's true with any storyline. So maybe they're going to get there. I like seeing people who you don't expect to get along. I love unexpected relationships. Well, speaking of relationships and friendships, Colleen says, I miss the tete-a-tetes between Phyllis and Michael. They used to be besties. We're just not getting enough Michael, in my opinion, and you're right. He and Phyllis were wonderful. Sherrod says, it seems that this show is forgetting everybody that used to be besties. Mariah and Kevin have not spoken once since Michael brought him and Chloe back to town. I believe it was last September. She was actually at Society with Devon when they told the family they were expecting the baby, and they never even acknowledged each other. Oh, I didn't even notice that. So Kevin and Chloe were announcing their baby, and Mariah was in the background? Oh, in a separate scene? I did not even realize that. But yeah, maybe that's what Y&R's trying to do. They're kind of isolating Mariah. I mean, they're doing it on purpose for one reason or another. So, I don't know, maybe they're trying to shove her back into friend zone with Kevin eventually. Again, like I said last week, we're really not seeing all that much in Kevin. But, yeah, they used to have a really kind of fun, friendly dynamic that is definitely not being utilized. Speaking of Kevin, I saw an article this week that Roscoe Bourne, the man who played Kevin's father, terrible Tom Fisher, he passed away this week. Sounds like his final years had gotten very dark. The guy had a really long resume of not only acting but also music, so that's very, very sad news. Roscoe Bourne, he certainly did play a very good bad guy, because terrible Tom Fisher was truly, truly terrible, and those were some dark days of Y&R. I mean, Kevin was an abused child, and Roscoe Bourne was terrible Tom. He took on the task of actually playing the role of a child abuser. Oh, yes, yes. But I was sorry to hear the news of his passing. Diana has another pair of besties for us. Phyllis and Lauren. Why don't they ever hang out? It would be nice seeing Phyllis have some girl time with Lauren from time to time. Phyllis seems a little desperate for company and romance. She shows up at men's homes with takeout food, hoping for some loving. In this case, it worked with Nick, but she was unsuccessful when she tried with Adam. Oh, how funny. Phyllis brought Chinese food for Nick and for Adam. That's a funny thing to remember. Yeah, that's like her go-to for getting through the door. I think that Gina Tognoni's Phyllis had a lot more screen time with Lauren and them being besties. Because I remember complaining at the time about that Phyllis and Lauren were so close, but where was Michael? Because Michael and Phyllis were the initial bestie friendship. Lauren kind of got brought on later. But yeah, I would love to see Phyllis getting some fun girl time with Lauren. Those two are wonderful on their own, so they are very dynamic together. Phyllis's new bestie, I guess, is Amanda. And we really haven't seen too much focus on those two within the last couple of weeks. Maybe we should. Maybe we need. Well, one friendship that has endured, maybe despite all odds, is Chelsea and Chloe. Ellen says, I am trying to imagine being friends with a woman who tried to murder my husband/fiance multiple times, and who has the nerve to sit there and badmouth him to my face. No, never. And you're married to a felon, Chloe, so just keep your judgments to yourself. You're lucky that Chelsea can even look at you. This friendship is so unrealistic. Yeah, I think the Chelsea and Chloe relationship is mostly there right now because I think they want to build up a new business for Chelsea. But yeah, why is Chelsea so desperate for friends? T. Nicole asks, is it Adam and Chelsea's plan to overthrow Nick as the temporary CEO, or to still go after the position even when Victoria is all back and healthy? Okay, well, I have to pause there because that is a really good point. I think that their plan is to get revenge on Victor. I think that Nick and Victoria are just frontline officers, that they can be picked off. It's interesting that Chelsea had so much reverence for Nick when they broke up, and she knows that she kind of dogged him. And then when she was talking with Adam about their takeover plan, she was saying, Nick chose this, so here it comes. Just be ready for it. So they're right on board for whatever this plan is. Here's a very sensible suggestion from T. Nicole, though, saying, if this CEO replacement is truly viewed as temporary, then Victor should make up a tightly bound contract that stipulates that the position is only to be held until Victoria is well enough to return to work. Make it legally binding, and the concern that Adam might want to take over and might want to overstay his welcome in the CEO chair is gone. Could it be that simple? No. Of course they wouldn't make it that simple, but because it's too rational, Tina Cole. It makes far too much sense. You're right. That is all Victor ever had to do was just say, okay, it doesn't really matter who's going to take this on temporarily. We're drawing up a contract. Victoria, who is my preferred CEO, she's going to take it back when she's all better. But no, I mean, Victor's not really supporting. He's not being as supportive of Victoria as he should be, right? I mean, he should be at least kind of reassuring her that he's on top of everything. Don't worry about it. And when you're ready, I want you to get back into the game there. But he's just doing an awful job. Awful job of mitigating any and all of this. But Colleen says, I am happy to see both characters, Adam and Chelsea. They're united and back on my screen. I loved how Chelsea had Adam's back this week with both Chloe and Victor. They're a formidable team. And now we just need to get Chelsea's fashion house up and running. Oh, so there you go. Team Adam and Chelsea against the world. Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward just to the fashion house part of it. That's the more interesting part of it to me. I'm thinking that maybe Chelsea could take some design inspiration from her stay at the bed and breakfast. I can see it now. I am seeing dark and leafy floral prints for fall. Normally, this is the part of the year where I realize that March Madness is coming and I get all incensed and indignant about the fact that I'm going to be missing 2 Y&R episodes. But not this year. Oh no. According to Soaps in Depth, we are supposed to get 5 full new episodes of Y&R because March Madness has been canceled, and I can't even really bring myself to feel good about that because I just feel bad for all of the people who were looking forward to their basketball. I mean, year after year after year, all the way to 10 plus, I've sat here and said, well, I don't like the basketball. If they want to watch the basketball, they should watch it on another channel because I'm busy watching my soap. And now I just think, oh, there are so many people who look forward to their basketball as much as I look forward to my soap opera. So I feel really bad about that, but I'm sure it's certainly for the best, most certainly. But, you know, I guess maybe we should take it as a little bit of some positivity here at the end that ended on an up note. You know, we're going to get to see 5 full episodes of The Young and the Restless next week. So everybody just focus on that. Watch your show. Think about all of the opinions you have about the show, and then go to yrchat.com to type out those opinions where I will read them, and then I will collate them and bring them back to the whole group next week at this time. Does that sound like a good plan? I think so. Well, I hope everybody stays safe and healthy. I've realized within the last several months that by the time I get to the end of Y&R Chat, my voice is just blown out and raspy. And I think I'm just like, I get so excited about Y&R that I'm just like yelling. And for the last 2 weeks, I've tried really, really hard to keep a hot tea next to me and to kind of pull it back on my vocals. So it's kind of hard to get through an hour and a half. I mean, I've been sitting here for 2 hours without, getting a little rough, and the air is dry. And so I was just realizing, listening back to Y&R Chat, that my voice sounds awful. So I've been trying to pull it back a little bit. I hope nobody interprets that as me being sick, because I'm not. I'm probably going to just try to pull it back on my vocals from now on, because I'd rather it sound good. But I feel fine. Everyone in my house is fine, and I really hope that everyone in your life is fine, and we'll be good. We'll be okay. We'll be back next week. I promise. I hope everybody has a good one. Stay happy, stay healthy. I love you.